The history of IEEE spans a remarkable century of technological progress. Over the years, your members...
Hi, I am Bob Alden, IEEE Vice President for Regional Activities. The program that you are about to see was prepared for our 1984 centennial. Since that time it has been updated, and I believe that it contains information that you will find useful in your role as an IEEE volunteer. I hope you will enjoy the program. Thank you.
As a member and volunteer of the IEEE, you're in rather prestigious company. The Institute and its predecessors counted among their leaders Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Charles Steinmetz, and other names synonymous with electronics and electricity. And today, after more than 100 distinguished years, you'll find in the IEEE leading professional electrical, electronics, and computer engineers and scientists from around the world. So as not only a member, but as a volunteer officer of the Institute, your role is even more important. This program will facilitate that role. Our objective is twofold. First, to help you understand some of the ways you can be a more effective section officer, and second, to show how the IEEE can help you accomplish your goals. And for those of you just thinking about volunteering, it will introduce you to some of the activities you might become involved in. Now, Dr. Dick Gowen, 1984 Centennial Year President of the IEEE and President of Dakota State College.
Over the past 20 years, it's been my privilege to serve as a volunteer leader and officer of the IEEE. This experience has brought me great satisfaction and added new dimensions to my professional and personal life. It's given me the opportunity to serve our profession and at the same time improve my management and leadership skills. I've been able to develop contacts with our professional colleagues in many nations. And while serving as a leader of the IEEE, I've been encouraged by the knowledge that our technologies are helping to improve the quality of life for all peoples of the world. In the next few minutes, we'd like to review your key responsibilities of serving as a section officer and indicate the resources and support services that are available to assist you. And with this knowledge, to strengthen your confidence and to add to your enthusiasm for service as an IEEE officer and leader. I know you'll find service in the IEEE rewarding and even fun. And now to tell us more about serving in the world's largest professional technical society is Mr. Paul Springle.
World's largest is right, and we're still growing. As the latest report of the Secretary shows, our membership is well over 300,000, with members in more than 125 countries. And there are more than 270 locally led and organized sections in about 60 of those countries. For many of our members, the sections and chapters are the primary points of participation with the IEEE. So, in a sense, for these members, the local unit is the IEEE. Worldwide, membership is concentrated in the grades of Fellow, Senior Member, and Member. These are the members who can hold local office and vote in institute elections. Members in the associate and student grades have limited voting privileges. They can later qualify to hold certain offices by moving up to member grade. The leadership and management of the organization is in the hands of the members and is carried out by this elected structure. In addition to the Regional Activities Board, the sponsor of this presentation, your unit will probably interact with 3 other boards: technical activities for chapter activities and perhaps conferences, educational activities for continuing education, including courses distributed by satellite, and the United States Activities Board for professional activities for U.S. members. Supporting this elected structure is a staff of about 500 organized along similar lines. For example, the regional activities infrastructure is supported by the field services staff. Incidentally, the slides we're showing here are part of a complete set of director's slides about the IEEE in general. They're used by board members to present the IEEE story and are available from field services. Now, on the local level, there are nearly 2,000 units, including regions, councils and areas, sections, which are the basic units, subsections, chapters, student branches, and branch chapters. Here in these local units is where many of the actual day-to-day activities of the Institute are carried out by thousands of active volunteers. So your role as a local volunteer is essential to the continued success of your IEEE. What we'll do now is outline some of the major resources and materials the IEEE makes available to support your efforts to serve the members of your local unit. And we'll describe some of the ways you can help us serve your local unit better and the organization as a whole. Chances are, as a volunteer officer, you'll need answers to some common and not so common questions, such as whom should I notify of officer changes, or how can I form a society chapter? What are the rules for grants and scholarships? Or what are the qualifications for life member status? Well, the answers to these questions and hundreds more are here in the many IEEE handbooks furnished to new officers. Perhaps the two most important are these, the IEEE bylaws and the Policy and Procedures Manual. With just these two sources at your fingertips, you'll be able to handle about 80% of the questions you'll ever have on IEEE issues. Your IEEE network of volunteers and staffers can help too. In the bylaws, much of what you need to know as a local officer is spelled out in Part 400, Geographical Activities. It's much like a review course on local unit operations and includes a lot of valuable information for local officers. The companion to the bylaws is the Policy and Procedures Manual, which covers current IEEE policies on everything from contracts to conferences, publications to publicity, and of course the IEEE rules governing finances. We suggest you consult this manual before committing to a project or an expenditure, just to make sure it conforms to current policies. Copies of these two publications, along with other resources, are automatically sent to all officers shown here, as soon as headquarters is notified that they've come into office. They are also available on request to any member, as are most of the officer materials you'll see in this program. Now let's cover a few specific topics in more detail. First, the rebate program. The purpose of the rebate program is to provide the sections with basic operating funds derived from member dues. Most sections use these rebate funds as partial funding for the services and programs they provide for their members. The amount of rebate a section is entitled to is based on section and chapter membership and on activity. The formulas used to determine the rebate are reviewed every year and are occasionally revised. You'll find the details in the latest edition of the rebate schedule mailed to the sections each fall. Now, here's where field services needs input from you. To make sure your section receives the proper rebate and to satisfy the IEEE's income tax reporting requirements, you'll need to file 3 reports with the Service Center at Piscataway, New Jersey. First is the finance report, which we need for the IRS. The finance report usually comes from the section treasurer. A properly prepared report is based on the calendar year connected to the previous year and is audited locally. Second is the meetings report, which provides the information needed to calculate the rebate. This report is prepared by the section secretary using the yellow single meeting report form. The rebate schedule details the requirements for qualified meetings. As part of each year's meetings report, every section can submit one report for a section technical conference, which is basically a mini-conference. As detailed on the rebate schedule, this activity earns significant additional funds. Third, there's the Simplified Officers Report, also submitted by the section secretary, which provides us with information needed for other purposes besides the rebate program. For instance, it will tell us who your treasurer is, so we can issue your rebate check properly. In summary, the rebate reports due from your section are the finance report, the meetings report, including a section technical conference report if appropriate, and a current officers report. The deadline for filing the financial and meeting reports is February of every year, showing activity for the previous calendar year. Information on officers should be kept current at all times. While the rebate program will provide much of the basic financing for your local unit, there are other funds available if you apply for them. From time to time, there are incentive programs. For example, your section may be entitled to an incentive payment, some call it a bounty, for every new society member you bring in. Details are available from Membership Development in Piscataway. Incidentally, your unit should take advantage of the various membership development resources and devote substantial effort to recruiting and retaining members. There are programs and support available at all levels.
Another source of funding is the category of project funds. When applying for these, you need to propose a specific beneficial use for the money, and it must be approved in advance. Field Services can help you here. And lastly, there's support available from your region. For details, contact your regional director. Programs which provide funding do change and are reviewed annually. Of course, you can always supplement these funds by developing your own local sources, such as fee-bearing conferences and continuing education courses, paid advertising in your section newsletter, and support from local industry. Funds from any of these sources can be used to start a section library that provides all IEEE technical periodical publications at about 20% of normal cost. This library, including transactions, journals, spectrum, and the proceedings of the IEEE, can be a major benefit for your members. To set one up, your section needs to provide a space to house and protect the publications, allow members access to them, and pay in advance. For current prices and availability, contact Field Services. Student branches can set up branch libraries at their own special discounts. Although with all that's going on in the Student Activities Program, like the Professional Awareness Conferences, paper contests, design competitions, and leadership development, you wouldn't think our 50,000 student members worldwide would have a lot of time to study.
Now, the IEEE rosters. For efficient communications within the IEEE, it's important to have current address information. For this very purpose, Field Services compiles and publishes a number of different rosters following a regular schedule. And as we'll see in a few moments, they also prepare these specially sorted lists and mailing labels as a service to local units. Every March and October, Field Services issues regional rosters that contain the latest address, telephone, and telex information for the nearly 4,000 local and regional activities board officers worldwide. These rosters are distributed throughout the IEEE. To help you keep track of section membership, Field Services sends section member rosters called white sheets to each section every January. These white sheets list all active members in that section as of the previous December 31st. Then, each month, pink change sheets are mailed to each section that show changes in the section membership. Changes such as new members, new addresses, different technical society memberships, and many others. Of course, you can easily request a current computer list from Piscataway, but by incorporating these changes onto your white sheet roster every month, you'll always have a current membership list. Now, this system works well for many sections.
As we mentioned, Field Services can also supply volunteer officers with lists from the membership database on request. They can select members by a variety of criteria, such as society memberships, grade, location, and others, and prepare a customized list or mailing labels you can use for your needs. The process takes about 10 days. The cost per name varies according to use and can be deducted from your section rebate. Details are sent to the chairman and secretaries of the sections and chapters every year. Aside from promotional or announcement mailings, there's another reason you might need a specially prepared list, and that's for forming a new IEEE unit. The main reason for forming or reorganizing local units is to respond to the needs of our membership and promote greater participation in society and chapter activities. Because, as we've discovered, the more active our members, the stronger the IEEE. The process of forming a new local unit or rearranging an existing one can actually be quite easy, especially with some inside hints and assistance from Field Services. Say you wanted to form a chapter of the Magnetic Society in the North Pole section. First, you could ask for a list of the members of the Magnetic Society who are in the North Pole section. It's possible you haven't met them all. Next, you can be provided with instructions and petition forms. Try to collect 20 or more member signatures. The bylaws require only 12 signatures, but since some might be invalid for various reasons, it's a good idea to collect a few extras to be on the safe side.
Don't worry about additional processing. Field services will check with the regions and societies. But you may wish to also contact the chapter coordinator of the society for assistance on specific matters. Although it can take longer in certain cases, the entire process normally takes a couple of months. Up to this point, we've mentioned only a few of the resources and support services you can take advantage of. There are many more.
For instance, there are IEEE identity and recognition materials, and specially imprinted items to help you build enthusiasm and pride among your members. To recognize outstanding achievements of members and other engineers, the Institute sponsors awards at all levels and in all operational areas. There are also awards for sections, for chapters, and for student branches. These awards provide opportunities to recognize members and volunteers for their contributions to the technical and professional growth of and service to the IEEE. In addition to the awards programs, there are supplies for your local office, programs and materials for attracting new members, a newsletter to keep you up to date on news, programs, and activities in the RAB network, and ongoing workshops for officer orientation at the regional, area, council, and section levels.
The Officer's Pocket Guide furnished with this program includes telephone numbers throughout the IEEE and can be quite helpful to you. For more details on the topics we've covered today or on any other matter, feel free to contact Field Services at the IEEE Service Center in Piscataway, New Jersey. Think of them as your personal resource for information, assistance, and support. For example, they're giving special attention to developing our program and speaker resources, and will be happy to help you find out which speakers and programs are currently available. Incidentally, their address and phone number, as well as most IEEE departments, are listed on the reverse side of your IEEE membership card. And now, before we close, here again is Centennial President Dick Gowen.
As you can see, there's a solid and responsive organization to assist you in serving as a section officer. We'd welcome your comments and recommendations of how we can improve the support provided to our volunteer leaders. I'm confident that you'll enjoy serving as a leader of the IEEE and know that your service is of great value to our colleagues and rewarding to you. And now, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the IEEE, I thank you for your dedication and your enthusiasm to serve as a volunteer leader of our institute.
Thank you, Dick. Edison, Bell, and Steinmetz were early leaders and volunteers, motivated like you to serve their profession and their colleagues. The beginnings of the IEEE were in their hands. Its continued success is in yours.